What is shaking, everybody? Welcome back to Turntable Tales, where we have passionate music discussions. I'm back with my co-host Brandon, Mr. Hall of Fame. What's up, Brandon? How's it going?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, dude. I've honestly, I've been kind of champing at the bit since the last one we did to get to this one because it was so much fun last time.
Yeah, it was a blast, man. Had such a good time doing that. I know we've been talking about so many different ideas, and just like you want to do them all at once. He's just like so excited to kind of share all that. So it's awesome. I'm glad we're back doing it again.
That's funny you say that. It's like you have these ideas, and it's kind of like, oh man, do I really have to wait like a month before we talk about it? Like I'm vibing
Right.
now, but this one is fantastic, dude. Like when you sent that list, your ideas on this stuff were so fantastic, and so I thought we got to jump into this one immediately. So what we're talking about today, guys, is first artist crushes. We have all had them, no matter who you are. A lot of times, I think our first crushes oftentimes are those maybe celebrities, artists, actors, actresses, and stuff. And so, man, when you said it, I was just like, yes, this is perfect because it's a fun opportunity to kind of revisit that stuff, these early crushes.
Yeah, because like you were just saying, excuse me. Oftentimes it is like an artist or an actress or something like that. So when you have that first crush, it's almost always associated with something that's inside of pop culture, be it music or movies. It almost always comes from that standpoint. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
exactly.
gonna be a fun one.
Yep. And there's so many. Had to kind of weed a bunch of them out. We would be here for hours.
Right.
um, well, yeah, I got my stack. I know you got a stack. You want to jump in on this one first?
Yeah, I'll go first today.
Okay,
Uh,
cool.
Matter of fact, I'll just really kind of start off with the one that made me kind of think about this as a topic in the first place. You
Okay,
know,
great.
it's really interesting, I think, that when I think back to my earliest memories, I know last time I was talking about the Debbie Boone, You Light Up My Life and all of that. It's kind of during
Hmm.
that same time period, right? And when I think about almost every memory that I possibly have from that time frame, there is a song connected to it. Almost every single one.
Yep.
And this kind of falls right in place with the first crush. And so I guess I must be in a somewhere around second grade, maybe second grade, third grade. My mother moved out to North Carolina to live out there with my dad for a while, and then ended up going back to Illinois. So I remember starting kindergarten out there and all of that. So one of the few memories that I have is we are driving to a mall. My dad's driving, my mom's in the passenger seat. I'm on the left side behind my dad, and my sister's behind my mom. And the radio is just on. No one's really paying attention. And all of a
Hmm.
sudden this song comes on, and everybody's talking and doing their thing. And I just get totally lost in this song. And I'm like, of course, at the time I don't realize it, but like, why am I feeling something weird here? Like,
Hmm.
why is this capturing me? Why do I need to know who this person is? And it was almost one of those moments where this is the first time I've thought about a woman that didn't have cooties stay away. It's like I want to be friends with her. I remember thinking that I want her to be my friend. And that song that came
Just from her
on,
voice.
just from her voice, just
Okay.
experiencing the song and the voice, it was this woman that I'm hearing. I want her to be my friend. And the song and the woman was Debbie Harry and Heart of Glass.
Oh, I almost picked Blondie, dude. I almost did it.
It was the first time I heard Heart of Glass, and I that song just it absolutely blew my mind. And Debbie's really just her cool, smooth delivery, which is always kind of neat because to me it was always like she was so sexy for like adults, but she wasn't doing anything. Like
Right. It was that aloofness kind of that made her
right,
so appealing.
right. It's like you could have your like son like me sit there and watch her, and he wasn't gonna see anything inappropriate. She's gonna stand in
Yep.
one place and kind of shake her shoulders and sing. But dad's
Exactly.
dad is sitting beside you going, that is the sexiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, you nailed it. That's so true. That's so true.
And And so I guess at some level I was picking up on that just from hearing her voice, not knowing what she looked like or whatever else. And I just remember going through this canyon that had these, where they kind of cut through the little, not mountain, but cut through the hill to make the highway. And I remember seeing like the rocks go by, and it's just that song completely cemented that moment for me. And that was always
Wow.
one of my, I mean, probably my absolute first absolute crush of any type of thing on that level. And when I hear that song to this day, I'm right back in that car hearing it again. Love it. Love it.
It's funny specifically with her, and I think you and I kind of grew up in this era where MTV is just happening and she's really early in that. And you actually can see these people sort of on the screen in living color, where probably
Mhm.
before that time, unless you were at a live show, maybe didn't get to see these people that often. But then with MTV, it was like all the time. And I just remember seeing those Debbie Harry videos early on, and I started connecting the voice to the face. And just like you said, that I call it aloofness. It's just like whatever, you come get me kind of attitude. And yeah, man, it just sucks you in.
Yeah, I mean, she had something that was just so special, and I've always been very, again, like the way you're describing that, like I've always just been very, almost impressed is the word, that
Mm.
she doesn't have to do anything. Put the camera on my face. I'm going to sing the song. I'm not going to be puckering at you. I'm not going to be, trying to, and you're going to think you're watching something that should be R-rated, and
Exactly.
I'm just singing like that. Yes, there's something very special that she had,
Yep.
which is
Yeah.
also really nice because it seems like it matched the type of woman that she was when she was away from the limelight. When Blondie kind of went away for a while, and you hear about, the struggles in her relationship and kind of the stuff they dealt with and everything. She was just like a normal, caring, just kind of girl, kind of woman. And it's like
Right.
she performed the same way. It was just, I'm a normal, but she just had something special that, that's why she was a star. Plain and simple. She had it.
It was very much a less is more kind of thing. Well, yeah,
Yes.
like just like you said, it was, she didn't need to do all that stuff. And that's when you found someone special, when
Right.
their eyes tell you everything you need to know. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
I
That's
almost picked her, dude. I was right there with you.
yeah, that's my first pick. So let's see who got you fired up in the early days.
Yeah, man, that was a good one, man. I'm glad you brought her up because she deserves mention. Um, so for me, same thing. It was that being in the car. It was just me and my mom at this time. I'm an only child. My parents were divorced when I was young and stuff, and so we're in the car listening. And this voice comes on, and it's this very catchy tune. And after you hear it a few times, and it doesn't take that many times when you're a kid because you just got a blank slate up there. I could memorize the lyrics really quickly.
Right.
And so I start singing, and it's like when I hear it, it's like bad girls talking about the sad girls. And it was like, okay, okay, who is this? Same thing that you're saying. And before I even show the record, right at that time, it was the Columbia House stuff was really hot and heavy. Like everybody I knew was like sending their penny in and getting the 510 records or whatever, and then like forget about it after that. I don't know how Columbia House stayed in business, but we used to do that, and I remember the specific time when my mom comes up to me, and I don't remember how Columbia House worked. I was literally 7 years old at this time. I'm about to describe.
Mhm.
And we were getting the Columbia House, and she goes, I already used my name on one of these, so I want to use your name. And so here she is, like using a 7-year-old her 7-year-old son to like dupe Columbia House. It's like, man, there goes my credit already. And so she goes, and I guess she just felt bad. She didn't have to tell me that. I'm 7, but she goes, but because I am doing that, pick 2 records. So I'm like, okay. So I picked 2 8 tracks, and the first one was Kiss's first record,
Nice.
and that is a topic for another video, the whole
Right.
Kiss thing. But so that, and the other one was the 8 track of On the Radio, Donna Summer. This is the back cover, which to me, man, it's
Nice.
just so cute, dude. I'm just like,
Mhm.
where the front of it, she's on the radio. Most people will remember she's on the radio, but this one, she's in the front seat of the car and everything. And I must have also seen her on like Dick Clark. I know she was on like American Bandstand early on in the 70s and stuff. I probably saw that too. And
Right.
dude, I was just like, wow. Like you said, that's the first moment you start having feelings you didn't know. Alien feelings. What's going on here? But yeah, and so got the 8 track and got to listen to the rest of the stuff. Incidentally, this is a 2 album LP. Side 3 is Hot Stuff, Into Bad Girls, Into Dim All the Lights, Into Sunset People. It's just such a vibe. But yeah, Donna Summer for me, man. And at that time too, how you kind of got exposed to this oftentimes with the music. And then a lot of these times these people would be at that time, at least for me, they might be on the cover of TV Guide or they'd be on a
Mhm.
magazine and you'd see them and it'd say like Bad Girls with a picture. Oh, I guess that's the person that sings Bad Girls. And then you might see
Right.
him on TV. And so all these different interlocking pieces that kind of form an image of who this person really is.
Mhm.
And like you said, less was more. Like she was a very modest person. In fact, I read an article where she said, they're really trying to turn me into a sex symbol, but I hated doing all that stuff. She didn't like
Right.
being photographed in like sexy poses and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And again, as a kid, that's almost more, I don't know, it's just even more attractive, even as an adult, but I mean, so yeah, Donna Summer's my first one. And that kind of sparked a love affair and kind of that first, I breaking the seal. That sounds weird. I don't know what to say, but that first experience, that first experience like that, and there was more to come. So yes, Donna Summer.
Yeah.
I have to cut that out.
Oh man. Yeah, that's a good pick. I mean, like Donna is just, I always label her as my queen of disco. And
Yeah,
sometimes I don't like saying that because I think it takes a little bit of justice away from her, because what was truly her genius in my mind was she was able to take the thing that made disco so popular, which was the catchiness and wanting to dance and kind of the nightclub feel, but she was
yep,
easily bringing R&B into it, bringing a
yeah,
soul and funk into it. And she was just like always molding it to something that was kind of accessible to more than just people that wanted to go do the Saturday Night Fever thing all the time.
exactly. It
You
was
know,
more than just that backbeat that made you shake your booty. It was like there was other stuff going on. A great voice, obviously, and yeah,
right,
I think you're right. Like she did care. It was an artist. She really wanted
right,
to like be an artist and a singer.
right. Yeah, she made disco music. She actually made it
Right, right,
music.
right. That's
And
a
and
great
I'll
way to
be the
put it.
first to say, I love disco to death, so I don't care about the cheesy nature of it. I mean, if I could go back and be in my mid 20s in the 70s when disco at its peak, oh
Could you
dude,
imagine?
I mean, and I'd be bell bottoming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You would not get me off of a disco floor. You would
Light up
not.
floor.
But I can also be honest enough to say that music that I love so much, it was still a lot of times just very generic.
Yeah,
Like I said, it was a beat. It was a get someone that can, give you a little bit of flounciness, and boom, here's just the next thing that we're throwing on. But yeah, but
yep,
Donna definitely had an artistry to it. Like she was actually making, like I said, some R&B music, some soul music, some like Love to Love You Baby. I don't know exactly what you call that. It's
yeah.
creativity.
It's a real precursor, and I called out those tunes on side 3 of this record on the radio, in a way, and the way that they mixed it for this, which each song runs into the other, and it's meant to kind of be you just put that side on, and then you have a whole party. It's not like you have to skip
Right.
around, and people are still covering that song to this day, and it is so catchy and dancey. In a way, it's kind of a precursor, and it's very electronic. There's like synthesizers and stuff going on that really makes it ahead of its time, I think, where a lot of the dance music that is still happening is influenced by it. I just feel like,
Right.
you can play those songs and they're still fresh.
Yep. Yeah. Just shows how good they were. I mean, a good
Yeah,
song is timeless. You know.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great
All
pick, man.
right.
I could have easily picked
Thank
that
you.
one
Yeah.
too. All right. So my next pick, and again, like you said at the beginning, we were talking like right before we started this, and there's so many on the table that you have to just figure out how to knock some of them off, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, well, the first one that was kind of just getting into kindergarten, first grade, and all of that. So let me kind of jump to maybe junior high-ish, like somewhere around sixth grade, junior high, somewhere in that ballpark, and
All
what was
right.
like one of those big crushes that came then. And I remember this particular artist is one that I picked because around that mid '80s is of course when MTV first started to hit, right? And
Yep.
so you started to see people I'm not gonna say dressing up, but developing their images for MTV. And so
Hmm.
off and between that and BET Video Soul, those were the two things I used to always watch all the time, MTV and BET Video Soul. So so what you would have is there were artists that were traditional at the time, traditional black artists. And then it seemed like on MTV, there were traditional kind of white artists, what you expected with new wave and stuff like that. So this one comes along that's just kind of a little bit different, a little bit of a mixture of the two. And I remember like thinking that was so interesting. Like there's something different about this. And like, her songs and everything are kind of just, hitting you that same way. And I developed a huge crush on her.
Dude,
Just love
I can't wait. You're just building this up, dude. I can't
her.
wait to know who this is.
So I'm actually going to go to the wall and pull this one off because I got this hanging up here. But that artist was Lisa from Lisa and the
Oh,
Cult Jam.
dude.
I mean, just kind of having that Latin background. Again, she had it was kind of weird, like between hair, features, and everything. It was kind of like, oh, there's some R&B type of feel in her music and in her look, and there's some new wave pop type of stuff in her look and it was just something about that just made her stand out. And I just thought like, oh, that's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. Like I said, I'm sixth grade, seventh grade now, so I'm actually starting to pay a little bit of attention to girls. And yeah, and it just just all the awesome stuff she had. I wonder if I take you home, or just on and on and on. So many great dance songs that offered that R&B Latin flavor in a pop type of delivery, and it was just awesome stuff. And then when you combine her with the fact that she was doing stuff with full force, you remember the movie Crush Groove, of course, like one of the first hip hop movies that came out.
Yeah.
And so when you had the two guys that were the enforcers, so to speak, the two guys from I'm going brain dead now. I just said their name.
Oh,
Oh my god. They did like all of her producing and everything. Oh my gosh. Okay, it'll come to me in a minute. But full force. Gosh,
full
full
force.
force. Yes,
Yes.
that's what I'm trying to think about. And those guys, especially back in that time, they were known for like, they're big, they were all buff and everything. Like they worked out and they would wear all kind of shirts that were like mesh and everything and had the big Jerry
The
curls.
gloves with the fingers cut
Right.
off.
And as dumb as all that sounds now, I thought those guys were cool as heck. It's like, look how
Yep.
look how big their muscles are, and their Jerry curls are halfway down their back, and just, just coolest guys in the world at that time. So
Dude.
the fact that you would see them in videos with Lisa, that just kind of made it too. It's like, oh, the cool dudes are with the. I want to be a part of that group. I
Yep.
want those dudes to be my friends, and I want her to be my girlfriend, kind of thing. So I'll finish that up with this one last cool story. Like, so that's seventh grade, right? We're talking darn near 40 plus years ago or whatever. And so my boy Billy Crayoni here in the VC, he still does a lot of 80s music, and he does tours where he will sometimes do opening acts for a lot of the 80s circuit, so to speak, like your Cyndi Laupers, and he knows a lot of them, including Lisa. So he contacts me one time and says, hey, I'm getting ready to go out and meet with Lisa. If you have any of her stuff you want to sign or anything, send it to me. And I was like, oh yeah. So I send it, and I also send a note with it as well that I want to give to her. And Billy is really cool because he records him giving her my stuff to sign, and she
Ooh,
says
that's
hello to me in
cool.
the video and says appreciate for being a fan. And on the note, I kind of just, jokingly was saying, had a crush on you for all of these years, and I can't believe I'm actually communicating with you. And I was like, the one thing I've always wanted is a kiss from Lisa Lisa. So I said, if you happen to have any lipstick on you, will you be willing to kiss my record for me, to send me a kiss? And sure
Uh-oh.
as heck, if you look right there, that's
Ooh, that is so awesome,
dude.
dude.
Billy
Yes.
sent this thing back to me, and I was in my house by myself, just like, was,
You were seventh grade all over again, man.
exactly. That's what I told my brother. I was like, if you'd have told me back in seventh grade that Lisa Lisa was going to send me a video thanking me and kissing my record, and I would have lost my mind. I would have
Yeah.
absolutely lost my mind, and it actually came true like decades later.
That is awesome, dude. That is so cool, man. Because I know exactly what you mean, and probably most people do, where especially these connections you have when you're young, people like us that just loved music and was just watching the videos and listening to the records and all that stuff. And then later in life, when you have some kind of connection, that's an awesome connection. For
Mm,
me, even just going and seeing a band like Devo or Adamant is another one. The English Beat. These are all bands that I got to see way later, and it's like reconnecting with that young person again. And so it's like so cool.
right.
But man, you have Lisa Lisa's lipstick on a record in your house right now. That's awesome.
It was so cool. Yeah, when he was, it was so weird too. He was filming her, like signing my stuff, and when she pulled out the note and started reading it, I actually felt nervous while she was reading it. Like, she wasn't reading it out loud. She was just reading it, and then when she got to the end, she goes, "Wait, where's that record? Where's that record?" And then she gets it and kisses it. So I'm like, okay, I know she just read, and I'm just like, oh my god, that is so awesome. So
Dude, what a
awesome memories, man.
what a great experience. It's funny too what you said early on about just how styles were kind of fusing at that time, it
Mm-hmm.
seems like with music and with like look and stuff. You're right, totally. Um a
Yeah,
lot of those bands from that era were we was kind of like it was really a great time because you had a lot of bands that were mixed and were like just kind of breaking down some barriers and stuff. That was
mm-hmm.
really cool time.
Yeah. I think it's one of the places where MTV didn't quite get the credit. Like everyone wants to talk about what MTV showed and how all this stuff developed, but I think one of the things that it really did is it gave so many of us permission to go to the other side and
Yeah.
be cool with a new form of music, a new look, a new, growing up where I was growing up before I moved to Central Missouri, where I was at the time, and discovered the rock and all that type of stuff. You wouldn't have caught me dressing up like Sammy Hagar. I wanted to be
Right.
red, the whole nine. But it's like MTV opened up that world, and all of a sudden it was cool for me to, oh, Full Force have been my heroes. Now Sammy Hagar can be my hero too. Kiss can be my
Yeah.
hero. Rat can be my hero. Madonna can be my, like that was definitely a very valuable thing I think that it brought to the table for, let's just say, youth at the time.
Yeah, it's so true. And at the time too, and when you are young like that, I didn't really even and this is I don't we don't need to go down this whole discussion and stuff, but I mean I was listening to Duran Duran and Adam Man and The Cure and Depeche as much as I was listening to the Fat Boys and Prince
Right.
and Houdini and Egyptian Lover and all that stuff. So it was like, and it was just all one thing to me. Like I just, man, this is a great time to be alive.
Yeah. Yeah. For a while, they just made it where it was just about music. It wasn't
Yeah,
about the hard rock guys over here and the disco people that just did their disco. And, when that type of stuff crossed them, it was just, like I said, it was just music. If so much stuff, you're being exposed to so much stuff and just realizing there's a lot of great music in a lot of different places. That was
yeah,
awesome time, man. Oh my gosh.
I know. Whew.
So good.
Well, you got it immortalized right there on that record, man. That is so
Yeah.
cool.
Thanks, man.
Well, let's see. I'll go. I try to do mine chronologically too. So that was about 7-year old Jason. This isn't much later. This is probably like between 10 and 12. And I was living with my mom. We had moved probably 2 times since the last record, the last crush. And then, but she would listen to a lot of Fleetwood Mac. And so we had Fleetwood Mac records around, and I loved the voice of one of the singers. And of course, I'm talking about Stevie Nicks. And that was enough to hook me. And I even became a huge Stevie Nicks fan after that, and buying her solo records and stuff that were coming out during that time. But man, when you opened up the records and the little the gatefold poster that comes up, and you see this, I was like, yeah, I was losing it. And even this is a great one too. But and on the back and stuff, just
Yeah.
it's all this imagery that just had me like, whoa, Stevie Nicks is and was just a knockout, and again in a very different way. It's a very
Mhm.
kind of classy way. It's not that bombshell look or anything, but there's just something about that beauty. Obviously what she could do with her voice, but just also
Yeah.
how she carried herself and different stuff like that. And then obviously just beautiful. And so yeah, that was another one. In fact, I remember telling my dad, I like the girl for Fleetwood Mac, and stuff as like an 11-year-old. He's like, Stevie Nicks, dude, join the club. Everybody loves her. And I felt it was less special. I was like, you're breaking my heart, Dad. I thought she was all mine, dude. But
Oh,
yeah, and again, when the videos are coming out and you get to see her, and it seems like she was always filmed in like slow motion, and the wind was always blowing her hair, and she was always
right.
looking like a gypsy and stuff. And it was just like, and her voice and those songs, she was always singing the really sentimental tunes, for those records like Dreams on Rumors and stuff like that. And
Right.
and I just always felt like Gypsy is another one that just reminds me a lot of my mom, actually.
Mhm.
But yeah, and so I really identified with her songs for Fleetwood Mac, and then of course when she went on to have a solo career and stuff. But yeah, man, that was my second crush, and I don't have her lipstick on my record. I wish I did.
Oh, that'd be
but
awesome.
but she was awesome. It was just another one that was just kind of again just another major turning point crush for me. In a way, that's kind of the era where I was sort of really discovering girls in real life also.
Mhm.
So you kind of have even a little bit more context, and stuff. And so I know I'm trying to be careful what I say here. But yeah, man, Stevie
So,
Nicks, dude. I mean, even to this day, I mean, I look at this right now and it's like, wow, just so beautiful and just so, I don't know, just everything about her. So
yeah,
my second pick, Stevie Nicks.
that's a great one, man. I mean, that was one of the ones I had to kind of weed out because, of course, she was on my list too. And when I was actually kind of as I was pulling out some of the ones I was thinking about, I was trying to think like why were they like what caused me to have that feeling about what they were doing or who they were.
Yeah.
And so I thought about it with Stevie Nicks, and one of the first things that came to mind was she kind of had one of those best of both world things where, especially if you're a younger guy, maybe a teenager, kind of just getting into her or whatever, because she was young and beautiful, but her
Yeah.
voice sounded like with kind of, the crackle and the roughness, it was kind of a mature type of almost like an older woman kind of thing. So it was kind of like when you look at her, you got the young, but when you heard her, you also I get the older woman at the same time. Like I'm experiencing both of them.
You're right.
If that makes sense.
Yep. Actually reminds me too when you say it that way is like Grace Slick, who was more like my dad's contemporary, but later I kind of discovered Grace Slick, and then you see her when performing at like Woodstock. I think she was out. They were at Woodstock,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
um, yeah, it's kind of that similar deal. Just beautiful, but then the voice comes out. The funny thing about Grace Slick is then you hear her talk, and it's like she just cusses up a storm and all this stuff. It's like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that, Grace. But yeah, they kind of have that same thing. You're right, dude. You're right. It's kind of that best of both worlds, like you said.
yeah, yeah. It's just that I don't know another way to put it, but I guess like sometimes there's all these different elements of femininity that a woman can have, and it's just sometimes like with Blondie or with Stevie Nicks, it's like, oh, it seems like you guys really hit the jackpot because you get all of these different levels of that femininity that it's just kind of like you become a huge, overwhelming package because it's
Yeah.
everywhere, even when you're not trying. It's all over the place. And like I said,
Well,
it's
and
just,
you hit it too. Is like when you're not trying. Is that, and I'm sure it's hard to do. Is I could only imagine is that when you're super famous like that, and everybody wants to either be you or be with you, and to still have some humility, at least the
mm-hmm.
appearance of humility, which just becomes more beautiful, right? It's like there's nothing more kind of like I don't know. I think at least to me, where like someone knows they're hot, they know people are looking, they know and it shows. It's a total
Right,
turnoff. But the
right.
names we're mentioning are all people that just had that humility too, and it just adds to it.
Yeah. 'Cause if you really think about it, like even with Blondie, well, I guess again we keep saying talking about Blondie and Stevie because I think they're both at the top of the game of this conversation.
Mm.
Like if you really go back and analyze what they did, like when you saw them in concert, when you saw them in videos and all of this, there usually was never any gigantic extreme swings in anything. It's
Mm.
like Blondie's going to be in the same one-piece dress that comes all the way down to right above her knee, and she's going to have on an open-toe medium heel shoe. That's what you're going to get the time if you see Blondie anywhere doing anything back in that day. Like, you didn't have to see her one time with this extreme makeup and like she wasn't going anywhere near a Lady Gaga type of. And I'm all for creativity. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for
Sure.
that. But it's
Right.
just, like I said, I think it's just that special thing that you are going to get more than that. And has Stevie Nicks ever wore anything outside of platform shoes, a big drapey dress that's coming off of her sleeves and all the way up to her neck? No, she wore the same freaking outfit in different colors for 40 however many years, and it's just like there's no extremes. It's just
Right.
you just actually have talent that just overshadows everything.
Yeah. In a way, I'm glad we're talking about it candidly. And I know it can be a little bit of a touchy subject in terms of, look, we're not saying like, you have to be modest as a woman or anything like that.
Oh yeah, not at all.
It's just, obviously we're just connecting the dots in terms of what we were, what kind of got us when we were younger and stuff like that. And I think it's a valid conversation, is that I think we said everything. You said pretty much everything that has to be said, and I just want to, but I do just want to clarify. It's like, look, I'm not saying like, anyone has to dress a certain way or behave a certain way like that. It's like, it's just that these are our picks in terms of crushes.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those things where it's just a matter, like you said, it's not knocking anything else. It's giving
Right.
people credit for the avenue that they took. Because in the exact same voice of me saying all that about them, I would go say like one of the things that I've really loved about maybe a more modern female artist is Missy Elliott. Like I love her creativity, and
Yeah.
nothing about her is from a traditional presentation. It's almost like you get a new Missy Elliott video, you have no idea what weirdness you're about to see. You always kind of sense she's an artist. She wants to create things that are weird or different, and then you move to like a Madonna. Same thing. Is there any way you would go back and take away the influence of Madonna in the 80s? It's
I
like,
can't believe I didn't pick her.
yeah.
You're right. I was going to mention that Madonna, and and it's her videos. I mean, look at like Papa Don't Preach. What
Right.
teenager didn't watch that and want to hit the rewind button?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
So so it's great to have all those things. Just these two artists just happen to do it this way, and I respect
Right.
that about them. And again, I've always been one to kind of said like from Madonna from a singing standpoint, I don't ever think she was a great singer.
Right.
In
She
my
had her
opinion.
lane.
Right. And she blew
Yeah.
that lane up. Like she just formed an entire movement in the world of pop music and pop culture. And that's what made her awesome. And I wouldn't take that away from her for anything. It's
Yep.
just, yeah, the variety. It's awesome. That's the good thing about it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I forgot whose turn it is. I think it's your
I
turn,
know.
right? We just did
All
Stevie.
fired up, man. Is it my turn?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, I got one more here. And actually here, I'm kind of staying in the seventh grade or I'm going back, I think, to the fifth grade here. And again, we talk about the strong association, like, what we talk about, like, just kind of with this whole idea with this particular presentation that we're doing. It's just how one song can get so attached to a moment. There's a girl I remember in my grade school class named Leslie Johnson, and the only reason I remember her name to this day is because I saw her dancing to this song one time at PE.
Wow.
So someone put this song on the jukebox, and she was dancing, or not jukebox, the boom box, and she was kind of dancing around. I mean, just playful dancing. But again, it was just like, I'm hearing that song for the first time. What is this? And later on saw the video and all of that, and really got kind of, oh yeah, the presentation matches the voice. And long story short, it was 99 Luft Balloons by Nina.
Whoa, okay.
Yes.
Dude, that's coming out of left field, but yes, yes. That's a great one.
Yeah, again, just one of those very vivid memories, man. That little light gray boombox was sitting on the edge of the stage. We were inside because it was a rainy day, and sometimes the PE teacher would let us put on music if we had to stay inside. And that freaking song came on, and everyone's kind of dancing around, and Leslie was standing right by the tape recorder dancing. And again, it's one of those things where time almost just slows down, and you're frozen. Yeah. And you're like, what am I experiencing right now? Because that is awesome. And it was 99 Luft Balloons. So of course, eventually, MTV is becoming a hit over here now, and MTV starts playing it. So then you see the video, and you're like, Nina's freaking beautiful. I mean, she's absolutely beautiful. And then you start adding in like the foreign aspect to it that, you're not familiar with anyway, and that type of thing. And it's like, this woman is just, oh my gosh, she is amazing. Yeah. The song is fantastic. She looks so cool. Even the band is cool. Like, it's like everything about this is just cool.
The song is super catchy. It's like, oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like 83. So, like when the synths are really starting to take over music. So like the groove nature of the synthesizer. And of course, that song just brings that to the table like nothing. Yeah, I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
Dude, that is such a great one. Heck, I was going to keep going. I'm sorry. I had something I was going to say. I forgot what it was now. But yeah, no, that is a surprising one, dude. I haven't thought about that. And as soon as you said it, I pictured the music video, and I was like, yep. I was right there with you, man.
And I mean, even when you look at it now, like if you go back and watch the video, the guy playing the keyboards, like you can tell he was already going so far in the superstar mode because, he's puckering his lips really hard and just like really trying to be like the sexy British rock star, Yeah. And you look at it now and it makes you laugh, right? Because it's so cheesy. But back then, it was just like, that dude is so cool. Like I would love to be back there playing keyboards with him and, backing up Nina and all that kind of stuff. It's just
that is the other great thing about those videos too, is that they were so cheesy. But like even something like Duran Duran Rio, which is still cool to watch when they're on the front of that boat and they're just, cruising down, it looks like they're going like 100 knots across the water, but it's like, why? And then the woman with the cat makeup and stuff, and it's like, hey, it works. I don't need Shock the Monkey with Peter Gabriel. It's like, what is happening? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's super cool. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely something special about that when you were turning on. Obviously, you didn't have maybe a ton to compare it to because there wasn't an MTV that kind of came before. But
right.
I think there was really something special about diving into pop culture, being able to turn on the TV and dive into pop culture, and you really did not have an idea of what might come up next. Like you really didn't know if you were going to get a Prince type of video, if you were going to get a Whitesnake type of video, or if you're going to get some type of weird Peter Gabriel type of video, or is it going to be just concert footage of the Eagles singing Hotel California?
Right.
But almost no matter what came up, it was like, oh, the Eagles, that's cool. Prince, that's cool. Peter Gabriel, that's cool. It was an experience where you did not want to leave the television set.
it's funny hearing you say that, and it's so true, but it's almost like that short attention span thing that we have today,
Mhm.
where it was like a bunch of 3 minute, 4 minute, like even if you said, you said, oh man, this video again, whatever, you go
Mhm.
around, get a bowl of cereal and come back and like the next video's on. So it was like, yeah,
Yeah,
it was a constant like churning of different stuff. And especially when something new would come on,
yeah.
seeing Thriller for the first time or Beat It or Billie Jean or, these
Mhm.
videos that would, you just like blown away.
Yeah.
Um, anyway,
Mhm.
a whole
And
side
there was something
chapter.
special too about the fact that you didn't have the control.
Yeah.
That you couldn't just go click and watch again. It's like if even there's a video you wanted to see again, you had to sit there and wait, and you did not want to miss it.
Yep.
Almost in conjunction with sitting there with the radio on, with that tape queued up, shaking
Exactly.
like you're a crackhead fiending because you don't know the next song that's gonna come on, and you're like, is it gonna be? Is it gonna be?
It's Little Red Corvette.
I
I wish the DJ would shut up. Yep.
I
That's
remember,
awesome.
and this may be getting a little bit off the topic, but just since we mentioned that, I remember when the song "Be Near Me" by ABC first came out,
Ooh,
and
love that one.
yes, and I wanted to record it so bad. So I'm like this all the time, but every time they would say, "Up next, ABC," and they'd be talking about like the next news report that was gonna come, and I remember that
No.
crazy, and I fell for it every time. I fell for it
You're like
every
breaking a leg trying to get to the tape
Yeah,
recorder.
you're right. Oh, ABC News update. Come on. Be near me.
It's so funny you say that because people our age and older will know they know the struggle was real back then, man. But since the later generations, and I don't want to be that, I hate to say it that way, but it's like there's something that the whole analog world that we lived in and the not on demand world that we lived in, it was like that. Like I don't know if I said it earlier here, if we were just talking offline about like Star Wars, where you
Mhm.
went and saw Star Wars as a kid, and then that was it. You didn't really know if you were ever going to see it again. It goes out of the theaters. It wasn't like it was going to, it wasn't on there was no HBO. It wasn't like it was going to come on
Right.
VHS. I don't think it even came out on VHS till like 5 years later, and then it came on TV maybe 5 years later. So imagine that now. Like you go watch the latest Iron Man movie or whatever, and then it's on whatever Disney Plus or whatever within like a
Right.
month. You know what I mean? And it's like
Right.
I got one more. I got one more. So
Okay.
how old am I here? I guess I'm probably 15 now, high school age. And my girlfriend at the time was really she really introduced me to like alternative music and kind of getting even deeper into that. Whereas like, I'd heard it or it was on MTV, but it wasn't like she was right there with the Clash and Big Audio Dynamite
Mm.
and just all that stuff, missing persons and everything. So anyway, she introduced me to a lot of new stuff. And one of the people she introduced me to was Susie and the Banshees.
Oh yeah.
And this was a whole different thing right here. this was causing tinklies for a whole different reason. It was like there's something about that, that just stark kind of hair and the makeup and the just very kind of it was a very artistic thing going on, and that brooding voice, but the music was so catchy. I mean, I love it to this day. But there was just something mysterious and different happening that I didn't look into the real world and see it. Like she was inventing something totally new, it seemed like to me. And yeah, so checking out those, and a lot of it too, the imagery and stuff came from the few album covers that had her image on it. Excuse me. And then at that time, I'd be spending time in record stores and stuff, buying records, and then you'd see like a poster with Susie on it, and you'd be like, "Oh, I've never seen that image before. That's super cool," Or you might walk by a magazine rack or something and see her, because I don't think I really saw a lot of her on MTV. It was going to be more like in print and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, for those on the audio side, I just showed "Peep Show" by Susie, just because this is one that has her image on the front. But Yeah, and I had a chance. It's funny because that same girlfriend that I mentioned that introduced me to Susie, and I started crushing on Susie. We were going to go see Susie, and this would have been in like '89 or something. She was coming.
Uh-huh.
She was coming around. I think she bought tickets and everything. And before I could see her, we broke up. So I was like,
Oh.
no. I mean, I'm gonna miss you, but I'm really gonna miss Susie. Can I still have my ticket? you know,
Oh man.
because I think she got them like as a birthday present or whatever it was. She bought the
Uh,
tickets, and so I was kind of screwed.
yeah.
You're gonna take Susie too? I mean, come on, dude. It's bad enough you're leaving.
It's
So
kind of a
yeah, so
heartbreaking story.
yeah, that is a hard. That's what I. Girls come and go, but I mean, it's like Susie's once in a lifetime.
Oh
So yeah,
man, that's good stuff.
that was 15-year-old me definitely a whole different ball game there. But yeah, that was kind of too is I when I was in high school, that was my jam. I was really into
Mhm.
alternative, and it was all about the Smiths and the Cure and Depeche Mode and Echo and the Bunnymen. Susie, I could go down the list of all of them probably. You mentioned
Mhm.
ABC, and yeah, so that was really my thing. There was a lot of imagery and like metal videos and stuff like that, but at that time, I really wasn't into that stuff. I was more into this stuff. So this was the queen of all that. When it came to
Yeah,
alternative. So
nice. Yeah, and the way you were kind of describing Susie too, like it made me kind of think that was another thing that I think maybe why a lot of us growing up, just not only because it's what was happening when we were growing up, but I kind of go back to the amount of options that were kind of brought to the table with MTV and excuse me, new wave pop, pop R&B and everything that was kind of taking place. Is there really were so many new, let's just say, looks that were being
yeah,
presented that you actually had a lot of choice where, it's the flock of seagulls thing that just really intrigues me. That maybe kind of carrying over some of what punk had brought over, like in the early '70s or mid '70s and that type of thing. Or
yep,
it's the Jerry curl of a Michael Jackson, or it's the whatever the heck's going on with the Cyndi Lauper, like whatever's going on top of her. So it's just so many different things that I think once again just kind of gave people the permission to, oh, I can really kind of come out of myself and be, present, live in a slightly different type of person's body by going and getting all the Madonna bracelets, by going and getting the Michael Jackson jacket, and I think it's like one of the first times where, as a younger culture, that we really had maybe kind of that much diversity offered to everybody all at once, kind of thing.
that is a super great point.
You
Yep,
know, where I think kind of prior to then, if you're going through the '50s or the '60s, or like most of the people that may have been in the Motown crowd or in, that you kind of all dressed and you had the same presentation. If you were in the
right.
hippie crowd or whatever, you kind of all. But now it was like, I don't know, John can be a hippie one day and John can be something else the next day. Or how come I have three groups of friends? I have these hip hop friends who are wearing, Africa medallions all the time. And then I have another set of friends that are wearing ripped up blue jean jackets with Metallica patches. And
Yep.
then I have my Devo friends that are just, and I remember my life was very much like that. I had very distinct groups of friends that never cross paths.
Yep.
But it was like I was being exposed to all of that, and I like what my nerd friends brought. I like what my metalhead friends brought, what my hip hop friends brought. I have to be a part of it all.
I love that, man. And believe me, I have a lot of regrets about my high school years, man. Some of the stuff I would wear, trying to figure out what my identity was going to be. And part of it is you're right. There was just so many groups of friends that I enjoyed, and they almost get alienated from certain ones because I'd want to dress up like all I'd wear like my I used to buy these pants growing up in the Bay Area in California right by Berkeley. And so I could take BART to Berkeley real easy, hit the record stores. And at that time, I was really like 10th grade. They used to make these cotton tie dye pants like sweats, but they were tie-dyed. And so for
Uh-huh.
whatever reason, man, I was going to be that guy. And so I would just buy, and I had like purple ones and pink ones. And man, when I look back now, I'm like, and so anyone that was like, because I was also athletic, like I would play baseball and all that stuff. And those
Uh-huh.
guys would be like, what are you doing? Because none of those guys were wearing, trust me, pink tie-dye. Yeah, man. So
That's awesome.
I did not, I couldn't decide what I wanted to be at that time, man,
Mhm.
because I liked it all. And to your point, there were so many options that it was just fun to like do different stuff. And I became a skater because it was like kind of the most accepting crowd, I think, for being a
Uh-huh.
little different. And so, yeah. So anyway, it just made me think of that when you said that, man, because yeah, there was just so much going on. Yeah. Before that, it was kind of like, well, are you a peg? Like in the 70s, or it was bell bottoms, or it was what kind of jeans do you wear? Basically,
Right.
bell
Right.
bottoms. Are you wearing tight jeans? Are you wearing work jeans? Wranglers or Levi's. But in the
Right.
80s, it was like so many different options.
Yeah. That's so funny because the more you talk about that again, which is kind of it's the beauty of this, like it just gets all of my thoughts rolling and kind
Yeah.
of making me think back like the different styles or what I would take to school, so to speak. And I graduated high school in 91, so I was kind of right there when right about the time Nirvana was kicking in and Pearl Jam and all of that. So I can remember
Yeah.
times when like the whole tight roll jeans and wanting to wear like big flannel shirts. Like, yes, I remember I had like a red flannel, a green flannel, and I'm tight rolling my jeans every day. But the next day, I would show up literally hammer pants. I
Yes.
wore hammer pants to school. I mean, I'm already 6'5", right? So with the crotch hanging down below my freaking knees, what the heck was I thinking?
Bro, I love you. Got to send me a picture, dude.
Hammer pants, man.
You said hammer pants, dude. Back in junior high, when breakdancing was popular, it was
Oh,
parachute pants. You remember that
yes.
with 100 zippers? And you better believe I was wearing those suckers too, man. Once I got my first pair of parachute pants, I thought I had arrived, dude. I was like, "Oh, mom, please, you got to get me some parachute pants, man." I didn't even break dance or anything, but I had to have the pants. So when you said hammer pants,
Oh
dude,
man, I had so many pair of parachute pants. It's like it took my mom so long to get some for me, but when she did, it was almost like, here are 12 pairs, shut up. And
whoa, okay.
I can remember looking at them on my bed, and it was like the red ones with the black zippers, and the black
Uh,
ones with the silver zippers, and the one with the big long zipper down the side. And like you said, it's like I'm ready to take on the freaking world. It's like
there you go.
there's nothing in this world that can stop me right now. Like, oh, you want to battle? Like, let's go.
It's so true, dude.
Man.
It was the parachute. Somehow I ended up with the parachute pants and the members only jacket.
Oh man, I was never lucky enough to get a members only jacket, and I wanted one so bad. A members only and a Thriller jacket. I always wanted those two things, and I never got them.
Bro,
Heck,
I had the Thriller jacket, dude.
oh,
Because I was the MJ guy at our school. So here's the MJ story. So Thriller comes out. I was already listening to Off the Wall. Thriller
mhm.
comes out. I'm in middle school, and that's it. I am now Michael Jackson. And so I would buy anything, a magazine. I would go through all the magazines, and if there was a little 2x2 picture of Michael, I had to buy it. And I just had wallpapered posters in the room. I had the records, the cassette tapes. But so for Halloween, I had to be MJ. So my mom gets me the Thriller jacket. I had the glove. I had the socks. I would flood my pants out and everything. And then, if that wasn't bad enough, we lived in like we didn't have money. So it was like we lived in like a not triplex or something, 3 or 4 houses kind of connected, and there was
Uh-huh.
like a carport. And in that carport, I got all my friends together and I said, "We are learning the Thriller dance, and we are going to do it. And I'm going to teach you guys how to do it because I already got it all down." And so I teach all my friends to do it, and they hated it. I don't even know why but they did it, and we all did. And so like then I started, okay, we got it down, man. Let's get all the neighbors out, all our other friends, and watch us do it. I wish we recorded it, but point is, everyone knew I'm the MJ guy. don't try to act like you are I'm the
Mm,
MJ guy. And for like the Halloween, we dressed up for Halloween and did like the party at school, and there I was with my Thriller jacket and stuff. And yeah, when I think back now, man, but
I salute you, man. That is awesome. That is awesome.
I may have worn it to school a couple times, even, man. I don't know. I'm not saying I didn't. I'm not saying I didn't.
That is so cool. Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
the good old days, man. It's funny too, man. And still, you put on Thriller, and all those memories come flooding back, which
Yeah.
just kind of circles back to what we're talking about, man. It's like
Yeah. No
the,
kidding.
mu- the music connects the dots.
Oh goodness. Amazing
Well,
time.
dang, dude. Yeah, amazing time. And I could go on. We could just go on forever
Yeah.
about this. I could have picked 10 more crushes. We might have
Yep.
to do a part two on this one.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, man, this was awesome, dude. I hope
Mhm.
people enjoyed this and, kind of can go back and, cruise down memory lane yourself and think about some of the artists we talked about. And I'm sure you have some of your own. And if you happen to be watching this on YouTube and you want to drop it in the comment section, please do. Brandon and I would love to see that, and we can get a little communication going back and forth, because this is just fun stuff to just share and just vibe with other people on. I don't know what we're going to do next, but we'll be back in a couple weeks. And based on just what I've seen from Brandon's list that he sent me over, there is no shortage of great content coming. So keep an eye out for that. But brother, dude, I love it. I'm so glad we're doing this, man. This is so
Uh,
cool.
oh man, it's just so great. It's amazing, just like how happy I feel at the end of these things when we do them. It's just, it's such an amazing walk down memory lane. That's awesome.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, this is kind of our fix, man. So I'm glad we're gonna do another one. So all
Indeed.
right, man. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Brandon, appreciate you. So glad we're doing this, and I'll see you next time. Everyone else, we see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, guys.